Hello everyone and welcome to Long's Toys. I have a Transformers Legends review for you today. Transformers Legends is basically what the Titans Return line is called in Japan. So all of their releases for what we call Titans Return, they call Transformers Legends. This is LG-42 Godbomber. Now Godbomber is a Japanese exclusive character. He was never released. Well, I guess I shouldn't say that. There was a set when they were reissuing G1 figures. They did a set, I think it was Toys R Us exclusive. I think all the G1 reissues were Toys R Us exclusive, but there was Power Master Optimus Prime with what they called Apex Armor, and that was Godbomber. So sometimes he's been referred to as Apex Armor, but he was a character in Super God Master Force in Japan. So he has come out as part of the Transformers Legends line. Now, I missed out on the Japanese release of Super Jinrai, but I grabbed Godbomber, hoping to track down a Super Jinrai at some point. But now I have the mold as part of the Siege on Cybertron review or box set that I reviewed the other day, so I can finally form God Jinrai. I'm very excited. All that aside, this is the package for Godbomber here. You can see they have big window packaging, and he comes in vehicle mode. Over here on the side, we just have a picture of Godbomber. On the back, shows the vehicle mode, which is kind of a second trailer for Super Jinrai. And then you have the robot mode, and then down here it shows that he can combine to form God Jinrai. Not too much going on up here, and not really anything going on down below. So let's go ahead, get this guy out of the packaging, and we'll take a closer look. Alright, so here's Godbomber out of the packaging, and it's kind of cool. I like what they do here. All the separate pieces, like the head piece and the sword and the missile, all kind of go together, and they fit inside this gun. As you can see here, the blade slides underneath, the head fixes onto the back, and then the hilt of the sword gets plugged in underneath the blade, and then the missile gets plugged into the end. So it's kind of a neat way to store everything. I think they did a good job with that. And then this has two little channels here on the side, right there and right there. And you can kind of see that there's two little pegs. Let me see if I can get some better light down in here. So you can see there's a peg here where my thumb is, and like a peg here where my thumb is. And this just kind of like rests on that. So I think that's pretty good. I like the look of this a lot. I think they did a great job with that. The front of this can open up. It's a little difficult. You kind of push the top down to get it to come out. And then you can actually fit 3 Titan Masters in here. Now, if you're familiar with the original Master Force show, the 3 junior headmasters of Minerva, Shuta, and Cab, aka Siren, Nightbeat, and Hosehead in America, would sit inside Godbomber. But this is the headmaster that Godbomber comes with. Pretty basic, mostly blue, a little bit of black here on the front, and then kind of a gray head with a red visor. But the face on the back looks pretty good in my opinion. So we'll see that more later on. But you can, these little spots here are for these little kind of nubbins on the back, so you can kind of plug them in. And then you can fit 2 more over here. I just happen to have the one from Magnus Prime, so I'll plug him in on the other. Whoops. Easier if you put the back ones in first, obviously. And then plug him in, and then you can close this back up, which can be a little bit of a pain. Sometimes it doesn't. I think they fit. But yeah, this can be kind of a pain in the butt sometimes. I don't know why. There must be some tab or something I'm missing that I'm not. There we go. But then you can see them riding around inside. It's kind of difficult, mostly because the main one in the front is blue like the glass. But I kind of wish they sat a little bit lower so you actually saw their heads instead of just seeing their torsos. But you can hold 3 Titan Masters inside. I think that's pretty cool. I believe in Japan they're coming out with a little set, because I think they did a Go Shuta, with like another release. Sometimes they like to throw a Titan Master in with a release of some other figure. I think they're doing a set of Minerva and Cab, so that you can have all three of the junior headmasters. But I know we got like a Siren and a Nightbeat over here in the Titan Master wave size class, but I don't think we got one for Hosehead, so I don't know if they'll ever go back and do that. Probably not. So that's kind of a bummer. But if you buy the Japanese release, you can put all three of the junior headmasters in there, and then it would be just like Master Force. But yeah, so basically this guy is just another trailer for Super Jinrai, aka Power Master Prime. He doesn't really have like a super vehicle mode on his own. It's just kind of a trailer here. But you can bring in Super Jinrai, and you can revolve out this little hitch on the front. It's a little tight, but you can revolve that around. It's very simple. It's just a little plug, as you can see there. And it just kind of fits in between these two columns here. And it's really simple. It doesn't even like super clip in. It just kind of loosely connects. But then you can have his two trailers, just like the cartoon. And as you can see, it doesn't hook in the best, but at least it does something. So I think that's cool. I really like the look of that. Super Jinrai, fully decked out with Godbomber. So he has both of his trailers. I think that looks great. Before we get into the transformation, I kind of just wanted to show off the instructions that he comes with, because they're kind of cool. They have some comics inside. And then it shows off the robot mode, the vehicle mode. There's also like a little base mode, which in my opinion is kind of lame, but I guess we'll take a look at it in a minute. And then here's some more comics on the back. You can also see that he can take his legs off and use two Combiner Wars figures, which again I'll demonstrate a little bit later on in this review. But pretty cool. Here's a shot of, this is Minerva, that's Cab, and that's Shuta from Master Force. And then when you open this up, you get the instructions. So I just wanted to show that little book off just because I thought the comics were kind of cool. I have no idea what they say, but they look nice, and it's a pretty hefty instruction booklet, so I thought it was cool. I just wanted to share that with you real quick. So first we'll check out the little base mode, just because it's easier to get there from the vehicle mode than it is from the robot mode. I'm going to first remove the gun. You're going to start by just kind of this panel here in the front. You kind of have to lift this up a little bit and unpeg it, and then rotate this back like that. Do the same thing on the other side over here. Can be a little difficult. Okay, and then at this point, right here, we're going to slide out at the Combiner Wars ports. Just completely slide out the legs all together. And put those off to the side for just a moment. You're going to take this black piece in the front and rotate that 180 degrees, so it's like this. And then you can take this piece in the front that comes down and bring that down. And then fold down the wings just 90 degrees like that. And then this part's kind of done. You're going to come to these, and you're going to fold the feet straight down like that, fold the tab out like this, and then just move this combiner port kind of onto the back, just like that. And do the same thing with the other one. And then fold the tab down. Now at this point, and this part can be a little tricky, these things come off all the time. We'll get to that. You can see there's little clips right here, and I'll get closer, on the underside of the wing. So here and here. And that's going to clip. There's a very tiny little notch right there that the first one's going to clip onto, and then the second one will just clip onto the leg. And then you just do that for both. Give me trouble. I don't want to break the clips or anything. Why is this not working? I don't want to break anything. Hold on a sec. Let me find out why you're not clipping on. There we go. So it's kind of a mess, but once you get those clipped on, straighten this out a little bit. This section underneath here is supposed to act as like a tripod for this. This thing comes off, you just kind of put it back on. And trust me, you'll get very good at putting these back on because they come off a lot. But it's hard to do on camera because it's easier to do just in front of you. There we go. So this is the little base mode. And also, I'm sorry, you can take the gun, unplug the helmet, open this piece on the back. Where does this... Yeah, this is all one piece. There we go. Open this up like that, and the Titan Master can sit inside, and then you just kind of put this back where you had it before. And then you can have the Titan Master sit here. You can have another Titan Master sit in the top of the legs over here. I mean, it's all right, I guess. I don't know. I don't really care for it just because I feel like you can see the problem here in the front. The wheels do not really make a great third leg for this base, so it kind of falls forward a lot. Just kind of a bummer. But it's okay. I mean, it's something, you know what I mean? Like, it's not anything I needed. Obviously, you're going to have the vehicle mode, the robot mode, and the combination with Super Jinrai. So, giving us a fourth thing that this does, as far as this little base, you know, okay, it's not bad. To me, it was not needed because this toy already does a lot. But, hey, they included it, and it works a little bit. You know, it's not terrible. So, we're going to go from the base mode right into the robot mode. Unpeg these leg pieces, and we can peg them back on later. It'll be just as easy. You're going to lift these up. So, let me zoom out. This is the whole arm assembly, and this is going to be the shoulder joint back here. So just lift this completely up. If the arm pieces fall off, don't worry about it. You can connect them again later. They're probably going to fall off. So at this point, you can open these out like this. So you kind of have that pointing back like that. You can lift this up, and as you do, and you have to have this open. You can't move this piece with this closed. You have to move this up to reveal the little Titan Master spot, and then you can close this again. So just know that you cannot flip this piece out with this closed. Then you're going to kind of snake these up. There's a little joint right here, and that's going to bend. And then this whole thing is going to, and it's going to peg underneath that. That's important to note too. These flaps from this part go over top. So once that's together, you can see there's a big T connector right here, and that is going to peg into that T joint inside there. So peg those together on both sides. And again, the arm fell off, not a big deal. So at this point, you're going to rotate these all the way around, because that's actually going to be Godbomber's back. This is going to be his front. So you can, at this point, rotate and there goes the other arm. You can rotate the legs down at the knee, waist. I guess it's the waist, yeah. Duh. So you can rotate these around to rotate this back. And this is going to be his shoulders, but you want the wings in the back. But they kind of move together. So here's this. Put that down for a second. Come to your hands. You're going to flip out these hands, which is honestly easier to do when they're detached anyway. Then you're going to connect it back. Take this big tab right here. That's going to peg in So there's a big tab spot right there. So that tabs in there, and then this peg pegs into the peg hole on top of here, and then you just kind of fold this little tab down. So that's one arm done, and he's got a little bit of articulation there in the finger, but not a ton. This one, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to fold out the fist or hand, kind of move the thumb a little bit. The thumb is on a ball joint, as you can see. So you can move that a little bit, and then the hands open and close a little bit like that. So open this up. Let's see, why do I have it like this. Okay, so peg that into the tab, fold it around, peg it into the peg hole. There you go. Second arm is done. Put them down once again. Come to your feet. Fold that down. This is actually going to rotate all the way around. And then this black part in the front is going to be his foot. These are going to be heels. So straighten out your leg. Straighten out your leg. Come over here. Combiner wars ports are on the side, so you slide those in from the side. Get him all situated here. Alright, so at this point you have most of the robot mode, and I'm going to raise the camera up a little bit so we can get a better look because he's getting way too tall for me. Okay, so here we have the robot mode. We're going to take the Titan Master, and we're going to pop that into that panel we raised up earlier, and then we're going to take the helmet and slide that over top. And I have to say, the head sculpt looks great. I really, really, really like it a lot. It looks kind of ridiculous without the helmet. I mean, it looks good as a head sculpt, but the helmet just makes it look so much better. I mean, that is absolutely perfect. That is, I was going to say G1 Godbomber, which I guess technically he is still technically G1, even though he's not US G1. He's Japan G1. You're going to take this. At this point, if you'd like to slide the blade out, you can also take the hilt out and pull this off. And then I think you can still put this in. You can slide it back in like that. And then you can tab this into the peg hole on the side near his head. So there's his robot mode. You can take this, peg the blade in back here, and then you can put this sword in his hand. It's kind of weird the way it connects, and I'm trying to get it to work here. It's got a tab on the inside of his hand that will tab into this like niche in the sword handle right here. So it's kind of hard to do, but not impossible. There we go. Close that up. And then peg the blade back in. Now, I don't really remember him having a blade in Master Force, but he's got a blade here. And it's a cool sword. I think it looks good. And I love the shoulder cannon, obviously. He's got the wings straight back. Height-wise, here is Super Jinrai. They are about the same size, which is pretty consistent with the anime, if I remember correctly. Still don't have the best time getting his legs to stand for Super Jinrai, but what are you going to do? But yeah, they're about the same size. I think Godbomber looks great. I really like the look of him. I love the accessories, the paint job, the stickers, the Titan Master. I'm very happy. I'm very, very happy with this robot mode. I think it looks fantastic. So I'm going to take him out. The other thing I'm going to show off real quick. Again, I'm not really sure why it's a feature, but it is. Take his legs off. And I'm just going to bring in the closest two Combiner Wars that I had lying around. Same ports. Peg them in from the sides. And now he's got Combiner Wars feet, legs, whatever you want to say. So that is a feature. Any of the Combiner Wars figures should work. They're all the same port. So there you go. It's a weird feature. It's kind of neat just because, you know, why the heck not? But I definitely like the look of his normal feet as compared to adding Combiner Wars figures. But it is something you can do, so I think that's kind of cool. Articulation wise, whoops, the head obviously can swivel side to side. You have this. Now you can move the arm independently from the wing. You just kind of have to hold it. Obviously you have a real tight ratchet out to the side. You have a bicep swivel, which is again very tight, but it is there. And this came unpegged because of course it did. Sometimes getting this stuff to line up is a little bit of a pain, but once you get it, it's usually pretty solid. The connections are pretty solid. But now with the arm and the hand, you do have elbow movement, as you see, and then this whole piece is connected to that stump in there. So the hand has the movement I showed you earlier. The hips can go in and out to the side a little bit, but of course they have a super tight ratchet here and forward and back for the waist. You have the combiner port there, but you also have a normal kind of ratchet, and then you have really backwards and forwards with the knee, which is kind of hilarious. And then not really much anything going on in the ankle. Actually, I guess that's not true. This does have a swivel like this, so if you wanted to do a wide stance, you could bring the feet down like that to sit flat. So that's nice. I do appreciate that. But yeah, overall, I like this robot mode a lot. It's kind of simplistic, and the arms are kind of a bit of a problem, but I think it's workable. I think they're fun. I like the articulation, and to me, as a huge fan of Master Force, this hits all the right buttons for me. He looks very show accurate. He's the same size as Super Jinrai, which I appreciate. I love everything about him. But let's go ahead and get on to the main event, the combination of the two. Alright, so the first thing I did was I removed like most of their accessories and put the guns and the swords and everything off to the side. You're going to take Godbomber, take off the helmet, remove the Titan Master, and then you're basically just going to completely tear him apart. So you're going to first take off his two legs. You're going to take off the hand pieces and kind of put that all off to the side. So now we kind of have to do a little bit of work with him here. You're going to unpeg the shoulders and open them up. And then this whole piece accordions out. Open up this so that you can fold this piece back down and close it up. And then you have to bring this out and straighten them out like that. Come around to the back, and this piece will actually split down the middle, as you can see. And then it's going to open up, and you're going to kind of revolve this stuff all the way around. So it gets a little confusing, but you have this on the outside, then you need to rotate this inside, and it'll kind of peg in when you rotate this down and then rotate the wing out. So you want the wing to be resting on that second red piece. And then you're going to come around, you're going to have this off to the side with this tucked in. This is going to rotate like this and then down, just like that. So you're going to do it again with the other side. So you're going to rotate this, open this up, rotate this back around, bring the red piece down, fold that, rotate that in, and then rotate this down. And when you do that, then you should be able to connect these two pieces together and then rotate this whole section downward. And they'll probably come unpegged while you do that. It's perfectly fine. Just peg them back together. Once you have it like that, you can rotate these parts that were the hips up like that. So it's a little convoluted, but when you're done, you will have, and hopefully these will stay pegged together. This will be kind of the chest slash backpack. So we're going to put that off to the side for a moment. and we'll come to the 2 feet. So you're going to fold up the what were Godbomber's feet and fold down what were the heels. And these are going to be the feet. You can just put this down like that. And these big clips here are going to pop into the clips for Jinrai. So do this, bring this down, just kind of hold this on the back, and then you've got your feet. So you come to Jinrai. And I saw pictures online, I just wanted to comment on this. I saw pictures online where someone said that the clips were not in the Magnus Prime, basically Super Jinrai version from the Siege on Cybertron. And they absolutely are. So there's Rowan right there, there's the other one. I don't know if that was a mistake on the one he had or if he deliberately took them out so he could post the picture. I'm not sure. But the clips are here, at least on mine. So you can see here there's like a ridge here, this big clip, and then this. And what I like to do is kind of, it's going to fit into this beveled area right here. So I kind of like to start there and then rotate the whole thing in. And then you can hear it snap audibly. So bring this back around and do the same with the other one. It's pretty effortless. You just kind of line it up and then they'll snap right in. And then that gives him shoes, adds about 1 inch of height. And unfortunately my panel in the middle is still not staying snapped. But now at this point you can bring in these little guns and they peg in right here on the side. Just like that. So bring him around, peg that in on the side, and there you go. At this point, we're going to move up and take a look at the arms. You're going to come to the back and pull this panel down, pull the arms down, and open these up. Now, these have 2 joints right here, so you kind of have to bring this down like that. You're going to fold the hands from Godbomber up. So straighten out that thumb and rotate that up and then pull this panel out. So this big piece right here is going to fold into, or just kind of peg into this slot here. And then this peg is going to fit into this peg hole. So I try to line up those first and then get that nice and lined up and pushed in, and then you can bring this piece around and you can kind of hear it snap into place, and then you can fold this tab back up. So that's going to give you the first arm. So you're going to come around and do the exact same thing to this one. Get that nice and pegged in. Bring it down. Oops, I forgot to fold in Godbomber's hands. Got to make sure you do that. Bring it down. It'll snap. You can then bring this back up. And there you go. You have both of your hands. Alright, so I moved the camera up here because this guy's getting pretty tall. And this part's a little complicated. So moving him off to the side, we're going to bring this assembly back in. Now there are these little red clips right there and right there. They're kind of fragile, so you need to be careful. But these 2 giant peg holes are going to peg into these big, or these 2 big pegs here on the top are going to peg into them. So you kind of have to like get the clip in the right spot and then drop that on and then kind of do the same for the other one. And it can be kind of difficult, but you'll hear it when they're on. At that point you can bring this down and you can see how it kind of fits flush with the red, and then just kind of bring this all the way down and it'll snap against the chest, and then this piece you can rotate just so it's straight down and push against. And then at this point they say you can take the head from Godbomber and peg that under here on the bottom of the backpack just for some storage. But if we turn them around and we straighten this out, we have God Jinrai. And I gotta say, this guy is a lot of fun. I really am really happy with this. You know, it's not... honestly, for me personally, it holds together pretty well. Well, I forgot the cannon. You can take the cannon and peg that into this peg hole on the top. So you just go ahead and do that. There you go. Now he's got Jinrai. If you would like to give him one of the swords, or I should say the sword from Godbomber, you can. Otherwise, he can hold his 2 guns that he comes with. I swear he can. Peg in. There we go. So he is a little top heavy because of that backpack, but he does fairly well. I also forgot to show you back here, down here in the legs, you can bring these red heels back down from Jinrai. They just kind of have to be out of the way for the clip, but then you can bring them back down for a little stability. So overall, I love this guy. There's no new head sculpt or anything to show you because it's the same head from Super Jinrai. But they really did a great job with this. It's definitely a modern update to the original G1 figure. If anyone is familiar with the original G1 figure of Super Power Master Prime, or just Power Master Optimus Prime with the Apex armor, or God Jinrai, whatever you want to call him from back in the day, he was a block. His legs were a solid block that you clipped more blocks onto to make the block taller. He had super tiny little stubby arms that you just pegged things onto, and then the other just was a giant piece you just plopped onto the front. And they have done such a nice update to this. I can't believe that, like, we started with the Ultra Magnus mold, and then Hasbro decided to just retool that into Power Master Prime just to sell another iteration of that mold. And Takara saw that, decided to make their own version of that mold for Super Jinrai, and then thought, hey, if we have Super Jinrai, might as well have Godbomber. So it just boggles my mind that this wonderful thing came out of a Hasbro retool / repaint. And that still kind of mystifies me, but it makes me very, very happy. Again, as a huge Master Force, I wish this was a little bit stronger. It can't really, I wish it could stay back, but it's just too heavy. But what I was saying is, as a huge Master Force fan, this really, really makes me happy. I mean, is it 100% perfect? No, but what toy really is? I mean, the only things I could think to complain about, the gun being loose that I just showed you, the panel on my Super Jinrai doesn't peg in, but again, I don't really think that's the mold's problem. I think that's just mine's problem, and it's probably just a little warped from how it was packed, and if I wanted to fix it, I probably could with something to kind of just put that back in there. But I have to say, I really don't have many complaints. I really like this a lot. It looks great. I think it holds together fairly well. At least mine does. I really don't have any complaints as far as it holding together. I know other people have said it's kind of floppy and they've had problems with him standing and everything, but I don't know. I don't have any problems with mine. Maybe the Magnus Prime mold identified some problems with the Super Jinrai mold from Japan and corrected them before they shipped it to us. I don't know. But if that's the case, I'm glad they did, because I'm very happy with this. It's one of my favorite characters from all of Transformers, done very much justice as far as I'm concerned. And I absolutely just love the look of this guy, and I'm thrilled to death. I'm absolutely thrilled with Godbomber, and I do realize that I might have a little bit of personal bias being such a fan of Super God Master Force, but I think they did a really nice job. I really like the vehicle mode, I love the robot mode, I love the combination with Super Jinrai. The base mode is kind of but to me, that's a superfluous mode. I didn't need it, I didn't ask for it. The fact that they gave it to us is, it's just a little something extra that I feel like it's not even worth criticizing, because this toy already does so much that's great, and that's just kind of an okay extra thing they just kind of threw in. So it's like, it's fine. But the only things I could possibly really complain about, this being a little loose, I kind of wish it would stay back a little bit. I mean, you can kind of push it all the way back, but it doesn't have like a... maybe it's staying. Now it's going to stay, just to prove me wrong. In any case, the gun is a little bit loose, but it's not a huge problem. The arms are a little finicky and kind of fall off a lot, but it's really not that big a deal. You can just push them right back on and they clip into place. Some of the parts seem a little fragile. Like I said, those red clips that are inside for when you connect to Super Jinrai, just be careful because I've heard people have them break on them because they are a little, not flimsy, but just a little bit on the thin side. So just be careful if you're going to be transforming them back and forth a lot. Otherwise, yeah, I really don't have a lot to complain about this guy. He's a lot of fun. If you have the ability to grab one, I highly recommend that you do. And if you have a Super Jinrai as well, you can go ahead and form God Jinrai, and what more can you ask for? It's fantastic. I love it. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Please like and share this video and subscribe if you haven't already. I hope you guys have enjoyed this look at LG-42 Godbomber from Transformers Legends. And as always, guys, thank you so much for watching.